Hello, hi, my name is Flubbs. I'm from Arcane. This is going to be a video talking about 25 raid level affliction locks. This is for the guildies, maybe for Wana. This is kind of to show how affliction works and how it's not as complicated or as bad as some people might think. So I like to use, most locks like to use patchwork as kind of the litmus test, kind of the gauge for locks, and especially for affliction. There's no mechanics, there's lots of time to have your DPS pan out. Affliction suffers on other fights that have particular mechanics that don't allow a long time, meaning the shorter the fight, the crappier affliction is. Unlike mages, where they get up to their max DPS per global cooldown is like 4 or 5 seconds. Affliction locks need a good 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Basically, need one, more like 2 full dot cycles for everything to start panning out. So you'll notice, like, the meters right now, mages at the top, but at the end, the locks and other classes will start climbing the meters, and that's due to that panning out of DPS. So affliction does really well the longer the fight goes, and well, the more targets there are. For example, Thaddeus in the beginning has 2 bosses that have a decently long time, and affliction does just fine. Anywho, so affliction is not too bad. You have a few dots and a few timers to worry about. Most people like to open up with Shadow Bolt and Haunt. That applies your 30% increase dot damage. Oh, and real quick, add-ons I'm using are DBM, Curse, Recount, and Power Aura Classic. That's going to be the Shadow Trance, the little purple flame thing that pops up behind me. That's going to be the insta-cast Shadow Bolt. Anywho, so most affliction locks, especially me, like to open up with Shadow Bolt and then Haunt. The reason Shadow Bolt before Haunt is the spell that has to be up at all time. Don't feel bad about clipping it, because it's best to err on the side of caution, because that's the source for most of your damage. Anywho, after that, it doesn't really quite matter which dots you put on first in what order. I mean, in the long run, it's not going to hurt your DPS too much. Some people like to argue and theorycraft over the higher damage per global cooldown dots first, like Corruption, but I don't think it really matters. You'll notice that I time Immolate and Unstable Affliction at the same time. They have the same cast time and same duration, and so you can just chain them back to back, and it's a lot helpful. Anyway, so once your dots are up, your filler is going to be Shadow Bolt. There's some more mechanics at sub 35%, but Shadow Bolt's going to be your main filler. Oftentimes you'll find yourself in a pickle where Haunt is coming up on cooldown, and it's going to coincide with dots falling off. Always go with the Haunt first. Just as long as you're constantly casting, it's not so bad. Same thing with Immolate and Unstable Affliction, because they have a 1.5 second cast time, and if they coincide with Haunt's drop off, you'll find that I just let those drop off, cast Haunt, and then put Immolate and UA back up. Anywho, and that's how it works. That's really the basics. You'll see also I life tap. Once you get your 2nd tier bonus from your tier 7 raid gear, when you life tap, you get an extra 100 spell damage every time you life tap. So affliction locks, you better start putting that into your rotation. Also, at a minute left in boss fights, you can throw down your Inferno. He does more damage than any other affliction pet can have, and so it's a good finisher. Anywho, and so this is kind of a personal achievement for me. I finally went like 4,400, 4,490, I think I went, and I've been aiming for that for a long time. Anywho, I hope this helps. Hope maybe this turns some people onto Affliction. Hendra, I hope I can swing you to Affliction. Some like any spec, Affliction has really fights it does well on, and fights it does poorly on. Malygos, for example, does quite poorly on. When you're in the Vortex, you're still accumulating threat while the tank is not, and that's problematic, and I get killed often if I don't time my Soul Shatter right. But on fights like Patchwork, You know, like I said, the longer the fight goes, or 4 horsemen with multiple targets, it does quite well. Anywho, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in Raid.